Welcome to Fluff, you sexy bitches. And yeah, this might be the last time I'm going to say that on here. I'm not quite sure. I think not. It's still nice reading, but I'll think about it. But for now, Henry, it is once again time to dance, not to read. I have flashback to the episode, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. Which episode was that again? Was that episode 6, 5, 6, where Nahanka, Rujo, and Mr. danced and played music, and I was like, oh, it's time to dance. I yelled out. Ah, good times. That was a while ago. Damn. Okay. Yeah, I think I have a name for my subscribers now. Both on Twitch and YouTube. But I will put a poll out and see how people are vibing with the name first before I officially decide. I'm not gonna spoil anything, you just start. The people on here, on Twitch right now, it's gonna be on Twitter tonight, and for you guys on YouTube who's gonna see this tomorrow, it has been on Twitter since yesterday, so it's gonna be on there for a couple of days, so you guys can just hop right in there and be like, yeah, I got locked down in there, honestly, sir. So yeah, just keep that in mind, please, that there is something like that. Alright. Well, inspiration. I had inspiration when I followed the name up. God, this is the first one. How about this SCP is a psychic effect where you think you have a great idea, but the idea is actually kind of really messed up. Or the opposite, it does inspire you to follow said idea, but you go become really obsessed with it. You get inspiration and then you're like, I need to follow through. It doesn't matter what gets in the way. You'd be like, oh man, I really want to, just build my own car. And you just shred pieces of material apart and just like, I can build my own car with this. I think this plastic fork and everybody's just watching you just go insane. Well, it's safe. It definitely isn't deadly, I guess. Well, just because it's safe doesn't mean it's not deadly. There's a lot of deadly safe SCPs, just the only thing is activating it is the safe part. The rest, that's something completely else. SCP-960 must be kept in a 10 cm thick, seamless steel cubic container measuring 50 x 50 x 60 centimeters. Those conducting research upon it are to be the only ones given the code to unlock its room and container. Any handling of SCP-960 is to be conducted while the researcher is wearing gloves or other protective equipment, except when it's being tested upon D-Class. Upon D-Class or other subjects, okay? Until he or she has created 9 or only original works, any human who comes into contact with SCP-960, while the skin is to be kept in isolation ward and provided with whatever supplies they ask for, given that these items are cleared for their use by appropriate officials. Immediately after completion of the 9th opus, however, the object is to be terminated. I just now realized I didn't measure out the distance for me to run tomorrow, but I'm increasing it from 11 to 12 kilometers, and I didn't the calculations yet. SCP-960 is a sizable fragment of what is speculated.
I'm so sorry, I had the robot voice on this entire time. I'm so sorry, guys. Shit. It was on this entire time and I didn't realize. Oh my god, was it on the entire time while I was gaming too? Because I had like voice. Oh, shit. Well, just to repeat myself what I said before without the additional voice. I have a name for my subscribers. It will be on Twitter. There's a poll for multiple different names. And you can vote which one is your fancy. So, yeah. Shit. I hope it wasn't on this entire time, but it might have been. But yeah. Oh well. SCP-960 is a sizable fragment of what is speculated to be an ancient Greek vase discovered vase? How do I usually say it? Well, in German it's Vase. So I say vase just to like differentiate. Yeah, discovered on the island of... Okay, excuse me. That kind of reassures it for me that maybe the voice wasn't on this entire time. Because the sound doesn't work. Why doesn't the sound work though? Okay, that's weird. Okay, hold on. Yeah, that's cool. There we go. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why that happened. Okay, again. SCP-960 is a sizable fragment of what is speculated to be an ancient Greek vase discovered on the island of near the site of the ancient minion city of. On its surface are depicted 3 muses. I don't know, whenever I think of muses or hear the word muses, I think of Hercules. Bless my soul, Herc is on a roll. Sorry, the 2 identifiable ones are Melpomene in the middle and Cleo on the left. The one of the right, shown as holding a dagger to her own neck, has never been seen in any other piece of Greco-Roman art and cannot be identified as appearing in any recorded myth. Fascinating. She don't belong here. This belongs in a museum. A short but variable time after a human touches SCP-960, the subject will be struck at ever closer intervals by a series of original ideas. The natures of these inspirations always follow a strict progression. A piece of music, usually classical, occasionally a fully formed opera, an intricate choreography, a painting, drawing, or sculpture, a psychological or sociological insight, a work of fiction of variable length, or a detailed and true autobiography, a spiritual revelation, a work of drama, one joke which is typically repeats as often as conversation allow, a scientific breakthrough. Subject exposed to SCP-960 will invariably request the materials they need to complete these works. If they do not receive them, they will become belligerent and uncooperative until their requests are satisfied or until they find suitable substitutes. Hey, I did say they will try to find suitable substitutes. I did say that. I did say they will try to find stuff and be like, I can make use of this. It is worth noting that the ideas are never written down in any sort of rough copy. They only ever appear as the final product, as if a full-fledged idea had entered the subject's head and left it unchanged. Subjects also display extraordinary talent in each of the fields listed above, but only for as long as they are working on completing their tasks. After the aforementioned itinerary is exhausted, the inspiration become a more sinister. All creative energy previously spent on the arts and sciences is focused on devising ingenious methods of violence. Of course it is. When is it never just relaxed and calm and doesn't do any crazy shit? Ow. After the aforementioned... Instead of asking for materials at this stage, the subject will begin to seek them out proactively. Records pertaining to the stage of exposure are detailed in the addenda. Addendum 1. Incident 1. Estimated date 20th 7th. SCP-960 found by amateur archaeologists south of the city of It is unknown exactly when he first touched the artifact, but family later reported that he began to ask them for a series of artistic and scientific supplies despite his previous lack of interest in either field. Created by Mr. were the following: a symphony entitled written for a full orchestra and an extensive percussion section, a complex ballad set of the previously mentioned symphony. Lexi, welcome. Thank you for looking. Thank you for being here. Wait, let me check something. Oh yeah. So you might be realizing that one of the emotes is gone for now. That's because I saw last time when somebody used it, there were black boxes that I accidentally added to them because I animated it. So we have to wait for that to be approved once again. It happens. You haven't missed much. This is the very first one. It's a vase that when you touch it, you just suddenly get the inspiration, the need to do certain things, which seems to be a lot of like artistic stuff, scientific and artistic stuff. So, and it's from the Greek mythos, it seems. There's two actual mythical muses on it, but then there's a third one that doesn't seem to be included in the actual myth of Greek. So right now somebody was like, oh, let me touch it, and now he's like, let me go create a what is this? Is raiding with a party of one. I need to get a raid sound. Hey, thank you. I appreciate the raid. You get a
nice.
Yes. Also a there you go. Nice. A complex ballad set to the previously mentioned symphony, containing one of the most intricate posterdome choreographed, a triptych depicting striking detailed images of what would appear to be the Holy Trinity. God, the words today. A corollary to Albert Bandura's theory of observational learning. A moving account of his own life, starting from his birth and culminating with the events of the previous years. A rebuttal of Nikolai Berdyaev's 1952 essay, The Truth of Orthodoxy. A set of 3 one-act plays centered around this theme of alienation in society, dedicated to individual achievement, entitled in Greek and
Data expunged.
Extremely unnecessary, crude. I fail to see the humor in this, Dr. A truly 4-dimensional model of an octachoron under study. 1 week after his last accomplishment, by the family reckoning, the next door's neighbor died in a fire at her home. The data expunged. Fire department issued a report naming the source of the blaze to be a can of hairspray, fitted internally with a complicated mechanism similar to the pilot light on the stove and left on her bathroom counter. After local authorities learned that Mr. had disappeared without warning just prior to his neighbor's death, the archaeologist was brought in for questioning. He, however, escaped the police by impaling and fighting his way out of the station to side street. He then fled on foot. However, Agent, who had heard reports of a murderer with abnormal strength on the run, captured the man, and when it became clear that no alternative solution presented itself, was required to terminate the subject. Note: Mr. wrote in his notes about a 4th figure on the fragment he discovered. His figure was apparently not a muse, but the depiction of a god outside the accepted Greco-Roman pantheon. Its significance is unclear, and Mr. failed to include any photographs or sketches of the deity in his notebook. Edit: the fragment with the unidentified deity has been retrieved and reattached. Its function still not known. Well, shit. But there's more. But wait. There's more. Addendum 2, Incident 2, 3rd, 2nd. The curator of the Museum of Art in United States, having recently acquired SCP-960 and placed in storage, decided to put it on display. Security footage shows the curator, Dr. moving the artifact from the basement to a display case on the 2nd floor, without wearing anything on his hands. He spent the next several weeks in his home, which he would have even if SCP-960 had no extraordinary property, since he had been placed on probation by the museum's board of the advisors for disregarding protocols in transporting the fragment without gloves. During which time he brought about A rock opera, nice, chronicling the rise and fall of the Roman Emperor Octavian, left untitled. An emotive modern dance routine involving 2 male dancers and a trapdoor. A sculpture of himself sculpting Michelangelo, creating the Pieta, describing as intriguingly ironic. What would later be known as the Redacted. A science fiction novella about humankind being unknowingly forced into a hopeless battle against extraterrestrial forces by a godlike ancestral species, overbearing, pessimistic in theme and tone. An outline for the polity and doctrine of an entirely new branch of Protestant Christianity, which he named Dr. Wishes it will be known that the ideology expressed with the documents, while indeed inventive, is tremendously vitriolic. It is possible that the more violent aspects of SCP-960 mingled with the earlier ones. Future research should be conducted to verify whether this is possible or whether Dr. was just a particularly deranged individual. A 5-act historical drama about the early stages of the American Revolutionary War places emphasis upon onstage violence. Has been described as what would happen if Quentin Tarantino collaborated with William Shakespeare to write a play about American history. That honestly sounds kind of dope. I can't be the only one, right, guys? I can't be the only one who's like, get the drama from Shakespeare and get the action from Tarantino, and whew, shit's good. A lightbulb joke researcher with particular political leanings have deemed it unfunny. An explanation of the precise nature of dark matter, the validity of this explanation has yet to be determined. After an undetermined length of time has passed since the last desertion, Dr. was caught by state law enforcement as he was plotting a way to free the inmates of a nearby maximum security prison.
Sir, that's illegal. Don't do that, please. There's a reason why they're in there.
Targets of the jailbreak given particular emphasis in the scheme include mass murderers and local serial highway sniper. When Dr. refused to surrender and attempted to attack one of the officers, he was killed at the scene. This is a long one. It's not the longest one that we had to start off with, but it's a long one. Addendum 3. Incident 3. 19th, 4th. The home of the doctor aforementioned was the target of a burglary on of the same year, as the loft had been vacant for some time. One of the thieves, Russian-born, was charged with transportation and temporary safekeeping of the fragment, among other goods stolen from the building. Decided to keep the artifact to himself and made his escape from the storehouse where it was being kept, according to a statement made under interrogation by his accomplice. Fresh-looking scratches and chips make it seem that he dropped the fragment somewhere along the way, perhaps breaking off the part with the unknown figure mentioned earlier. The piece was later found and reattached, unknown whether this was of any real consequences. He then made a home for himself in the sewer, creating the following over the estimated course of 1 week. The score, written in varying shades of green, brown, and red, and on the sewer walls for a somber Broadway-style musical about 2 doomed lovers in World War II era Stalingrad. A tragic retelling of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker from the perspective of the Rat King, written in the same substance as before. Substances used as ink were composed of sewage, fecal material of untested origin, and blood from various species, including rat and human. The Rat King forgive you. This time. What appeared to be at one time a self-portrait at the time of viewing by Agent. The sewage-based paints had all but evaporated, leaving only the parts of the image painted in red on the wall. This included the right eye and half of a grinning mouth. Most likely used material with a higher concentration of water to create this, explaining why it disappeared when other samples of it did not. The phrase, "I'm just fine," repeated a number of times along the walls, primarily in brown. Scrawled beneath this in red were the Russian words, Note, according to the family and doctor's logs, the individual had no history of mental instability prior to contact with SCP-960. Dr. hypothesis about the 10th muse influencing the other may be correct, pending further testing. what could be the best described as a stream of consciousness poem printed entirely in red, along 15 meters of the floor of the sewer. Themes included involve the existence or non-existence of both the writer and of God, fear of abandonment, and presumably redacted. The reference, if it is indeed a reference, is cryptic. Life is understood about the spiritual revelation brought forth through Mr. by an SB-960. At first glance, it appears to be a short phrase written in nearly illegible Hebrew reading, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." However, on close inspection, the Hebrew characters were composed of strings of English words, detailing what appears to be a
expunged.
From the quantity of remains in the sewer, it can be concluded that the acts described were performed a number of times. Surviving family members of those taken have not yet been provided with a cover story. A one-act play concerning the tribulations of a man who is sent to prison for a crime he did not commit, and who responds to this by breaking free and slaughtering the jury members who voted him guilty, culminates in the protagonist's onstage suicide carved into the floor with something metallic. How do you get an elephant to laugh? A feather, two feathers. Assumed to be a joke, found etched deeply into the skin on Mr. 's back, unknown how this occurred. A number of comprehensive diagrams of the anatomy of a rat, accompanied by the claim written on the ceiling of the sewer and allegedly proven by the drawings that a rat's brain can process and comprehend a number of languages, including English and Russian. This theory has not been submitted to testing for obvious reasons. However, the lack of ladders or scaffolding in the sewers makes the location of these diagrams much more interesting than the actual content. On the night of the subject had left the sewers and broke into a pawn shop. Here, he stole a number of weapons and a massive length of wire. He then forced entry into a nearby office building and made his way to the roof, then began firing indiscriminately at the people beneath him and those in adjacent buildings. Casualties were not given a definite figure, but are estimated to be at least. Police soon responded, but Mr. managed to incapacitate or kill 7 officers on the ground before they made any significant progress. When a police helicopter arrived, having tied one end of the wire around his ankles and the other to a small fan attached to the roof, jumped from the building, most likely under the assumption that the wire would act as a bungee cord. It instead severed his feet. Vital signs were confirmed absent upon landing. SB-960 was recovered by the Foundation from the sewers beneath soon afterwards. More recent experiments have not had the detrimental effects of SCP-960 set in so quickly or so vehemently. Research should be directed at understanding why Mr. such an anomalous case. Wow. Well, the Muse definitely did not sing "Bless my soul, hug is on a roll." No, not at all. They sung something in his ear, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And lo and behold, he pancake now. Pancake right on the streets. Everybody kind of took a massive beating out of that one. Woo! University sundial. So a sundial from the university, but what could make this one anomalous? What if you know how teachers were always like, the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do. What if it's that logic, but it's a sundial? You cannot leave until the sundial is at a very specific spot. And in winter, since winter has shorter days, class is shorter. But in summer, where you have longer days, class is longer. So in summer, you cannot leave school until fucking 9:30, 10 p.m. You're just stuck there. You just I want to go home, but maybe you don't even feel like the time passing. Maybe you just like think it's like a normal thing, but then you walk out and you're like, Jesus, it's 10 already? I gotta do homework. Or projects, basically, college projects. And then wake up at 8. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. Euclid. Okay, it's a decently rated. SB-961 in the full sunlight. 11:42 a.m. That looks about right, I guess. I cannot read sundials. I'm pretty sure there's like some people can like immediately see that, but like, yeah, that's correct. SB961 is to be kept outdoors. Do you think people ever looked at people got actual like clocks were like mocked by their elders, like, well, you can't, you too lazy to read a sundial. The same way how like most people nowadays cannot read analog time but only digital time. Imagine that back then people like gotten like mechanical clocks and people still use sundials. Were like, it's like your generation is just getting lazy. SB961 is to be kept outdoors in its storage container or in a closed empty room at Site 38 when not in use for testing. During daylight hours, SB961 must be kept in an area exposed to sunlight for as long as possible. Objects to remain under observation by camera at all times. If unusual movement of shadows on SB961's face is detected while in full sunlight, objects to be moved indoors and secured in an unoccupied room. This does not sound as this doesn't sound like my idea. This sounds like something dangerous might happen. SB961 is not to be kept in a region where full daylight is not present for at least 13 consecutive hours. That's gonna be a problem at winter, as I said. Though cloud cover or inclement weather does not seem to activate SB961's effect. As seasons change, SB961 may be relocated as per protocol 961 beta. The storage container discovered with SB961 appears to be effective in containing its effect via unknown means. Keeping the artifact in an empty, completely closed room is similarly effective. It is presumed that its effect continues to take place unnoticed. When indoors for testing purposes, 4 D-class personnel with a score of 85 or higher on the Lesak Hooper short-term memory inventory inventory are to be kept in an empty room of SCP-961 during the last 5 minutes of its cycle. Under no circumstances is SCP-961 cycle to be allowed to complete outdoors. A digital clock is to be included in the containment room. If events observed with SCP-961 contradict available records, report to researchers, supervisor, 05 command immediately. SCP-961 is an iron sundial of unknown manufacture, similar in style to late 17th century English models, but lacking any indication of craftsmen or previous owners. The sundial has no markings other than Roman numerals in traditional clock formation along the edge, along with a small sticker on the bottom reading Alex Silva University History Department, and that... Ah, yes, looks like... Wait, which one was this? Ah, yes, the microchips that animals have. Yes, okay. No records exist of an institution named Alexandria University, but the sticker appears to be recent. When exposed to sunlight and properly aligned, SB961 functions as a regular sundial without anomalous properties. When sunlight is not present, however, a dark discoloration will appear to emerge from the center and align itself at 12 o'clock. Though taking the appearance of a shadow, the discoloration appears to be imprinted on the surface of the sundial and cannot be dispelled by light or at any frequency or intensity. The shape will begin moving counterclockwise along the sundial's edge at usual speed, an example reaching every numeral 1 hour after the last. Meep mop. For a moment I was concerned, but then I realized it was a joke. Wait, let me answer that. I worship the great Ratto. For a moment I was worried. When exposed to sunlight and properly, I already did that. When the shape's rotation returns to the that's 12 o'clock. SB961 will manifest its primary effect on anyone. Why does that sometimes sound like a Yu-Gi-Oh card? You activated its primary effect, and then on anyone in a contained space with it. If in an enclosed room, the areas around the room will be unaffected. If the door is not fully closed, the effect will expand to include the widest possible contained area. The effect of giving SB961's effect access to outdoors is unknown, but researchers agree that the possible risk outweigh any possible gain. Okay, SCP-961's primary effect takes the form of sudden unconsciousness and vivid hallucinations affecting all people in range. So basically shrooms. Hardcore ODing on shrooms. All affected people will experience the same hallucination during any cycle. The hallucination will always take the form of an event in the past, usually one of historical importance. The event will play out before them for exactly 10 minutes, including the event climax. All details about each event as reported by D-Class personnel who have experienced the effect match precisely with historical records about the event. At no point has an event witnessed with SCP-961 deviated from historical records. This makes the note recovered along with SCP-961 particularly odd. See Addendum 2. Addendum 2 classified by order of O5 Command. Many hallucinations do end with a single detail that has not been previously recorded. One person nearby will play a vital role in the unfolding event. During assassinations, they will unlock doors for the assassins or distract witnesses. During battles, they will rally isolated companies and brigades to successful counterattacks. This entity, termed -1, varies in physical appearance and dress with each test. The only consistent feature described by observers in a pair of empty black apertures centered where the eyes should be, though much larger than eye sockets, approximately 5 centimeters in diameter. Ooh, just holes of just blackness. People nearby will converse with the entity without finding the apertures remarkable. At the end of many hallucinations, after the entity ceases to influence events, it will turn towards one of the observers and speak to them. Other observers will hear unintelligible conversation, then the hallucination ends. The observer will not recall what was said to them, only a strong sense of fear or panic. The observer who spoke with the entity will develop acute phobia of sleep, darkness, and being alone, which will subside over the course of the following month. And here we have an Addendum 1 report log. 23rd. Number of observers, 1. First display of SCP-961 ability, single researcher was sleeping in containment chamber when cycle ended. Later reported a hallucination in which a musician is stabbed through the heart by his girlfriend. All details and description will match the event of the death of redacted in 2000. Though death was ruled a suicide, investigation into SCP-961's ability begins. The second, 10th number of observers is 4. First fully regulated test of SCP-961. Observers saw a crowd theater in the middle of a play. Production confirmed as Our American Cousin. Observers see the guards around the main balcony door distracted, led into an alley, and beaten unconscious. As the assailant turned to allow another man access to the door, where distinctive facial features are first noticed, entity labeled -1. 9th, 14th, again 4. Observers see a battle find himself near an officer's tent. Commanding General appeared to be under the influence of multiple narcotics, provided to him by an unseen doctor. Armies dressed in 19th century English and Prussian uniforms are seen breaking through defensive lines. The doctor emerges confirmed to be -1, speaks to one observer some feet away. A second observer hears muttering along with, "You're welcome." Classified by order of O5 Command, authorized personnel only. Well, I am authorized. SCP-961 was recovered when a standard sweep of radio frequencies typically used by 877 detected a transmission emanating from an uninhabited wooded area near Arkansas. Arkansas? Is it Arkansas? No, it's Arkansas. Arkansas? What? Arkansas, right? Or is it... See, this is what happens when you have a non-American try to say names. Lexi! Which one is the right one? Is it Arkansas or Arkansas? Mobile units responding to the transmission located a wooden box containing SCP-961. The wood of the box contained unknown metallic fragments and was fitted with a device similar to SCP-877. Written on the box indicates it was being used for shipment via an unknown delivery service called PDS, or Fitransimum Combine. Its origin was a location called Alexandria Forest, and its destination was labeled as Novoscipius of Waters, and no was found inside the box, written in a language approximating both Cherokee and Latin, with syntactic traces of Greek and Nahuatl included. Translate the note reads as follows: to whom it may concern, product unsatisfactory, the presence of numerous inaccuracies is unacceptable. Unacceptable! And the first inaccuracy noted at 207 BE. At Metauro River, most events incorrect afterwards. Please identify eligible entity influencing events, returning for full refund, eligible signature, Dean, History Department. Well, it's just some dude. You get a hallucination of some dude just messing with history, and he's like, hey, you won't remember me once you wake up. You won't know that it was in fact me who did it. Yeah, okay, everything's good. It was I am the one who influenced this event. I've changed it forever. Tower of Babel. I had to think of the Bible, like instead of the Bible, the Bible, like where it's written like the Bible, but there's an extra B at the second B, so BIBBLE. It's this one animation where it's from Kirby. Well, I'm not sure. It's definitely not from the voice. The sound is not from Kirby, but it's the animation I saw is from Kirby. It's like this. I forgot what the enemy was called, but it's like this guy with like long ass sleeves and big ass eyes. And he's like the Bible, but it says Bibble, and then Kirby just goes, "It says the Bibble," and he just screams like, "You dare question the words of the mighty Jimmy!" That's the whole entire background just becomes this hellscape. Oh my god! Let me actually see if I can find it. I watched it already like a couple of weeks ago on the SCP reading, but I always love it. Why is this here? Why is this hentai here? What the fuck? Okay, wait. The Bible. Yeah, this might be like the original one, but I saw this one.
The Bible. This is the Bible. You question the words of the mighty Jimmy?
You question the words of the mighty Jimmy. Tower of Babel? No idea. Babylon? No. Nah. I got no. Woo! Big rating. I got nothing though. Euclid, due to its immobility, SCP-962 is to be left in the valley in which it was found. A kilometer perimeter is to be set up around the object. Any civilians seeking to pass the perimeter are to be turned away under the premise that the nuclear waste containment site is within. Any persons not affiliated with the Foundation found within the area are to be interrogated and issued Class A amnestics. Did I just watch the clip without showing you guys the clip itself? No, I did not. For some reason in my mind, I just thought like I accidentally watched it on a secondary window. My brains sometimes just gets melted. I mean, I did do a all-nighter yesterday, so that might be the reason why. A no-fly zone is to be enforced for the same perimeter to discourage growth of SCP-962's range. For live cattle and 2 tons of timber are to be airdropped near SCP-962 on a weekly basis. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. Any balloons released by SCP-962 are to be shut down and reasonable effort made to recover the manuscripts. Should a balloon escape and be found by a civilian, Class A amnestics are to be administered and the balloon and attached writings confiscated. All manuscripts are to be stored in a minimal security vault with rats stored in a separate vault. Level 2 or higher personnel wishing to read materials produced by SCP-962 may submit a request to the project director. Okay. SCP-962 is a large metal tower located in a valley in the Mountains in redacted. It is made primarily of steel, though other materials are present. The tower is approximately 281 meters tall, with a 2,575 square meter base. It twists and tapers somewhat as it rises from the ground. The top third of the tower is empty. An inner wall in the lower area renders it opaque to imaging. SCP-962 can open an aperture anywhere on its surface. SCP-962 produces and controls an estimated 13,500 servitors, collectively designated -1. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people they control. Specimens of -1 are cybernetically augmented animals. Nani? Nani? What? What? These augmentations usually force the animals on a bipedal gait and are often accompanied by a crude cosmetic alteration, such as the removal of a snout, with the apparent goal of making the servitors appear more human-like. The nervous systems of members of -1 is slaved to implanted electrodes which allow them to be controlled by a central source assumed to be a tower itself. The tower is just this giant... You know how, like, what's it called? Yeah, it's just a control tower, isn't it? Kind of like the towers for like planes, to like just make or like. I imagine like excuse me. Oh. I imagine like a remote controlled car, and you have like the controls with and you have the like, long ass rod, and the rod is a tower, and somebody's just. If you actually dig up the ground, you can find this giant base, and somebody's down there just controlling all these animals, just having fun with his little toys, with his little machinery. These servitors fulfill a number of roles, many of them mine for ore in an extensive system of tunnels excavated below the valley, which is then refined by the tower. Others repair damage to the structure or other servitors. A small number constructs roads, apparently to facilitate movement of -1. The remaining servitors hunt down and destroy all non-human life in the valley. Non-human life, okay. There are no recorded instances of any member of -1 attacking a human or a machine, even in self-defense. Frequently, the corpses of animals killed in those hunts are brought back to SCP-962 for conversion into -1. He's growing the army bigger. He's like, 13,500 is not enough. I want to reach that 50k. Plants may also be returned for use as fuel. Despite the damage caused by the augmentation, servitors are very effective at their roles and seem to be built specifically for them. Approximately 60 times a day, SCP-962 will release a hydrogen-filled balloon from an aperture in the empty region near its top. So now that I know that this thing can take animals and then transform them into fuel or other servitors, as he calls it, the Foundation did say they will bring 3 live cattle, which I assume is a way to like prevent it from like trying to reach out too far, and trying to like get I guess somebody's pet get attacked. I don't know. And timber. Which I assume has to do with the fact that it can also mine. So the balloons are made from animal tissue of varying species, believed to be from the animals brought in by -1. Attached to each balloon is a manuscript written in English and typically on paper or vellum. The length, content, and style of writing varies greatly. Manuscripts have taken a variety of forms, including poems, novels, and collections of essays. These manuscripts exhibit no anomalous properties, but are generally of extremely high writing quality, strongly suggesting sapience on the part of SCP-962. Of possible note is the general optimism present in those writings, as well as the lack of any mention of non-human life. Very rarely, SCP-962 will release a balloon with a document attached that is a departure from its usual writings. These manuscripts are disjointed, rambling, and bizarre rants, the exact meaning of which is unclear. In them, SCP-962 explicitly praises humans, consistently identifying mankind as the great ones it is trying to please. See document 962-382 for an example. The origin of SCP-962 is unclear, though estimations based on its mining rate suggest that it has existed for more than 20 years. Document 382. The following is an excerpt from one of SCP-962's rants. Grammar, punctuation, and emphasis have been left the same, though text color has been omitted. Okay, here we go.
Cleanse the world for the great ones, cleanse the world for the great ones, who greater than you, your majesty, your sublime nature. Great ones, do I do right? The flesh and wood serve you. Unite with the steel you love. Do you love me too? I am what you love. Great ones, see as I do my duty, my passion, forgive the slow pace, the steel takes time. Did you like the servants? They were the best of the cleansed one, the best for you, great ones. Make like you form of you assume here on the world to cling to honor. You do appreciate, please, please. I will complete the cleansing soon, and you can take me away in your ships of fire, and I can love you, and you will love me.
I appreciate the admiration, but I am taken. Okay, Jesus. Somebody out there with the motorcycle just going ham. Immortality. Well, it's an SCP, so it probably isn't just as simple as it sounds. It's probably not just like, well, you're immortal. It probably is something like, you are stoned, petrified, but you never age because you are made out of stone now. You're frozen. Your DNA just will never leave. Your character is, for some reason, from the history book, from the beginning till end, mentioned everywhere, meaning that you became immortal because now everybody somehow knows you. Those are some idea. Ooh, that's a high rating, and that's a beautiful little necklace. Is that a necklace? Might not be, but it looks like it. This is -1 without a donor. Donor? Yeah, okay. Euclid. -1 is to be given into the care of a current D-level operative as well as personnel classified as Dr. Bright's assistant. This assistant is to be chosen by O5 for loyalty to the Foundation as well as psychological stability. SCP-963 is to be attached to the subject's forehead or the back of the subject's hand using a suitable strong epoxy. -1 is now hung by a chain from the subject's neck. -1 is not allowed to be hidden upon the subject's body. Any attempt to do so will be met with lethal force. If the current D-level subject exceeds a 30-day lifespan, they are to be executed and a new subject chosen to wear -1. By order of O5, anybody -1 is installed upon is given a stay of execution until it passes on of natural causes, or -1 is transferred to a new host. Attention! As of 12/13, 963-1 is not allowed to in proximity of any Euclid or Keter class humanoid SCPs. This directive is to be enforced lethally. We signed it. 056, 058, 059. Attention! As of incident 239 by Clef Kentucky, -1 is not allowed at Site 17 without the express permission of 305s. Violations are to be met with lethal force. We signed it. 056, 058, 059. Okay, it looks like they are a lot more lax about this one. They don't seem to have any issues with this one as much as the other. As it's, I don't know. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems, or maybe they just learned more and they're like, we can ease up a bit more. We can come on. We can go a bit easier. We don't need to worry that much. There's nothing bad's going to happen. -1 is an ornate amulet approximately 15 centimeters in circumference, made from white gold with 13K brilliant cut diamonds surrounding a K oval cut ruby in a starburst pattern. It was discovered in the personal effects of who had been found dead by a parent's suicide. Surrounded by a number of supernaturally related books, our agent in the area found that -1 was incapable of being damaged and brought it in according to protocol XLR-8R. Dr. Jack Bright, which we have a footnote, who has been working for the Foundation since the containment of SCP-590. For more information regarding Dr. Bright's mental condition, see Dr. Glass' psychological evaluation. Did I read that? The fact that I see the ukulele reminds me that it might be that I did read that, but 590, that is, let's see here. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? He feels your pain. Yeah, it's a 16-year-old boy that can absorb the injury and sickness of anyone they touch. Yeah. I remember that one. That's a sad one. Well, it's not really sad, but it's like you feel bad for the 16-year-old boy, but yeah, you know, the Foundation. Okay, Dr. Jack Bright, as junior staff researcher of good standing, was assigned the responsibility of researching the -1's capability and granted access to redacted. Later that year, SCP-076-2 broke containment. See document 076-2 19A, leading to redacted deaths and casualties. Wait, hold on. 076, that's the Plague Doctor, right? I know that in, if I remember correctly, in the Plague Doctor story, no, that's Abel. Who's the Plague Doctor? Was what again? Wasn't it like 049 is the Plague Doctor? I'm dumb. Yeah, Abel. Yeah. That's 076. There's so many numbers. Dr. Bright was transporting -1 by hand past 076-2's containment unit and was among the first KIB killed in breach. Approximately days later, D1-113 tasked to clear the area of rubble discovered -1 among the wreckage and picked it up. An immediate noticeable change came over D1-113. Interview follows. I know another channel that calls his subs Frosties. Well, instead of Frosties, it will be Frosties, though. Like Afro. Frosties. But I will anyway make a poll on Twitter. I'll make a poll. Yeah, I also thought of Afrosties as well. Or Afrosties, but I honestly, out of all the ones I came up with, Profros is my favorite. It just sounds like the most, just rolls off the tongue. The Profros. Interview log X date. Could you please tell me your name? It's Jack Bright. You damn well know it is. I believe you are Tom Higley, working for us as part of your life sentence. Don't be ridiculous. I couldn't possibly be. -1 was removed at this time from D1-113's possession. A further MRI shows that D1-113 ceases all higher brain functions. -1 is returned, upon which brain functions return. Dr. Bright? What? We appear to have a problem. AFROFLUFF? Nah, I don't like that one. After much experimentation, it has been discovered that when any living... Sorry, didn't want to be that harsh. Didn't mean to be that harsh. But AFROFLUFFs, no. Something about calling my subscribers Fluffs I was like, something about that doesn't feel right, especially with the connotation that Fluffer exists. I'm like, that I don't want to make it the Afro-yos. That's a decent one, I gotta say. But of course, it doesn't have to all be like serial related. After much experimentation, it has been discovered that when any living anthropoid comes into direct skin contact with -1, the mind of the subject is wiped and that of Dr. Bright is projected from -1 onto the subject. It is unknown that memories native to Dr. Bright transfer from host to host. If a subject maintains contact for 30 days, the brain functions become a duplicate of the late Dr. Bright. If -1 is removed after this time period, the subject retains an independent copy of consciousness of Jack Bright. Sanctions were put in place to prevent multiple instances of Dr. Bright from being created to prevent Dr. Bright from collaborating with himself. However, it was found this was not necessary as Dr. Bright was proven thoroughly dedicated to the Foundation and its cause. Dr. Bright himself has performed extensive experimentation on -1 with the express desire for release from it. Interviews with Dr. Bright indicate that killed himself in the process of empowering -1 and was therefore never able to slave his own consciousness to the amulet. Dr. Bright hypothesizes that he accidentally activated -1's power by being killed instead of killing himself as the original creator had done. Yeah, Dr. Bright, there's like multiple of them, isn't there? -2 shown here, data expunged. Entry regarding -2 on. Orders were given by 059 to attempt to replicate -1. All attempts met with failure until -2, at which point
Subsequent data expunged.
all information regarding -2 is classified level 5. Anyone attempting to access further information about -2 without level 5 clearance will be terminated. Well, God, what's in the fucking box? Frosted Flakes, nigga, damn. Well, damn, bro. You don't have to be that angry. So that's why that's why he's immortal, because Dr. Bright's consciousness is inside that thing and can just transfer to any body now. Yeah, that makes sense. Indescribable polymorph. Another polymorph one. We had polymorphic humanoid, which was kind of hard. No, not really. It was kind of terrifying. People, of course, like the idea of a wolf, 9-tailed wolf girl that just can transform into anything, but at the same time, it does eat your liver. It does fucking eat your liver right then and there. So, yeah, and also it will feed you human flesh. So, yeah. But indescribable polymorph. So it must be a polymorph that's just you cannot describe it. It happens, and you look at it, you're like, what the hell am I looking at? How am I supposed to explain this to anybody? Nobody's gonna believe me if I try to explain this. Euclid. SCP-964 is currently stored. Nintendo 64, excuse me. Is currently stored in a standard containment chamber at Site 45. Access to the object is prohibited for all personnel of Site 45, regardless of security level. In the event of a containment breach, Site security must evacuate all compromised sectors, contact Site 11, and await arrival of MTF teams tasked with objects recontainment. Site 45 staff that came in contact with SCP-964 must be processed according to Protocol 964. Is that what is that? What? How do you call this sign? Is that theta? I'm not sure. Meaning. Delta. We have learned something. So 964 Delta 6H. If number of affected personnel exceeds 20% or Protocol 964 Delta 6H cannot be enacted, SCP-964 must be relocated to another site immediately. Research on SCP-964 must be conducted remotely using suitable Foundation facilities located at least 200 km from the site currently housing the object. All interactions with SCP-964 related materials must be done according to Protocols 964 Delta 6D. All documentation on SCP-964 must be transferred into digital format weekly and hard copies subsequently incinerated. All digital data must be processed according to Protocol 964 Delta 6R once every 2 weeks. Okay. SCP-964 is a prototype of next-generation active camouflage system developed by on a contract with the US DOD. The object was recovered in 2004 from a facility near Nebraska. SCP-964 displays the ability to reconstruct itself on the atomic level. This reconstruction process can take up to 16 hours and causes a complete change of the object's appearance, physical properties, and chemical composition. The result is usually a solid, commonly encountered object weighing between 2 and 100 kilograms and not displaying dangerous or anomalous properties. In rare cases, high-energy, radioactive, or explosive objects, unenclosed fluids, living entities, and objects with mass of up to 65 tons have been observed. 65 tons! That's a heavy boy! Although the new reconstruction can be theoretically postponed indefinitely, SCP-964 has not remained stable for more than 2 weeks since its containment by the SCP Foundation. That means it's just been constantly just shaken, transforming, doing the cha-cha inside the Foundation's custody. SCP-964 will initiate the reconstruction process whenever it detects permanent data related to its current manifestation. This encompasses all known data formats and storage mediums, including text, photographic materials, encrypted digital data, and human long-term memory. This reaction can be delayed by increasing the medium's complexity and distance from SCP-964. While no method of completely stopping this phenomenon has been found so far, Protocols 964 Delta 6A-R proved most successful in minimizing the dangers it can represent to on-site personnel. Then, wait, no, this is Incident Report 11. On the 22nd September 2006, the message of SCP-964 exists was used to trigger reconstruction process as part of scheduled testing in object self-preservation mechanism. After the start of reconstruction, object was observed to rapidly lose mass. Until completely disintegrated, SCP-964 was subsequently reclassified as neutralized. 2 months after the incident, a series of accidents suggesting SCP-964 involvement was reported in Sweden. Object successfully recontained. Incident Report 23. On the 15th of January 2008, after a typical reconstruction process, SCP-964 at the time contained at Site 30 turned into approximately 50 liters of an unidentified acidic solution. SCP-964 melted the floor of its containment chamber and proceeded to leak through a maintenance shaft until it initiated a new reconstruction process in a corridor 4 levels below. Site 30 security was dispatched to the site of the incident. After their arrival, close proximity to several video recorders caused SCP-964 to undergo a rapid series of transformations, culminating with a 20-meter diameter sphere of high-temperature plasma. SCP-964 was subsequently found in debris manifested as a 2-meter tall stuffed toy bear and relocated to another site. And now Addendum A, in light of Incident 964-23, personnel of the site housing SCP-964 are no longer allowed to access to documentation related to the object or to the object itself. Information included in transfer documents must be replaced with document 964-R. Document R must classify SCP-964 as a Keter level object and contain a fabricated description of the object composed from the properties most likely to cause a containment breach in the event they are displayed by SCP-964. Yeah, that is definitely... I can see why it's indescribable. Because it literally, like, you have to, like, you throw the entire Bible of descriptions at it, and it's just, like, try to polymorph into it, but it can't. It's just too much. It's like, help me, brother. Just let me transform. Just let me purge. And the entire Foundation is like, no, The face in the window. That sounds like a horror movie idea. Like, doesn't matter what floor you're at. You could be at the fucking 20th floor, and you look outside, and there's no balcony outside, and you look outside, and it's just a person's head, just like, well, hello there. I see you're about to make yourself ready to bed. Would be a shame if I managed to get in there and join you. And you just they're like, how the fuck is he up here? Euclid. SCP-965 is contained within a framed, ready-to-install window, henceforth referred to as -1, composed of at least 6 panes of clear glass, or similar material, measuring at least 15 × 30 centimeters. -1 must in turn be kept within an environmentally controlled storage facility capable of withstanding significant seismic disturbances. -1 should be inspected at least once per week to check for degradation of material. At all times, at least 2 similar framed windows must be present and within separate chambers in additional padding and insulation with no other window pane measuring greater than 14 cm wide or 29 cm tall between them and the current -1. The lighting within the chamber containing SCP-965 must be at minimum of 130 candelas at any time personnel are within said chamber except during research. While SCP-965 is currently contained within -1, our inability to control its movement upon destruction of -1 through means beyond proximity have prompted its elevation to Euclid status. Research into a more permanent means to contain SCP-965 is ongoing, and individual experiments may be carried out by Clearance Level 1 personnel after approval by Level 3 administration. SCP-965 is a visual manifestation that occurs within framed windows. This manifestation takes the shape of the shadow face of an apparently pale-skinned male that is looking through the window. The exact details shown vary, as does the direction of orientation as well as the age of a person. However, sufficient details show it to consistently be the same being at differing points of its life, between the approximate ages of 10 and 55. Research into individual matching SCP-965 has thus far proven inconclusive. SCP-965 will only appear when the relative lighting on the outside of the window falls below 5 candelas. Regardless of lighting on the inside, such terms are possible because the face will only appear in a fully assembled window frame, though it does not need to be currently installed. Thus far, SCP-965 has not shown any ability to intentionally move from any glass to pane to another, even within the same installation. It is only able to obtain a new manifestation point upon the destruction of its current -1, at which point its new habitat will be reclassified as -1. The face is visible from the outside portion of -1, but despite its two-dimensional nature, it is described as looking away into the room. Reminds me of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 with that one stand that can hop from reflection to reflection. But in this case, you have to break the window for it to jump from one to the next one. It doesn't just do it by itself. Initial effects caused by SCP-965. Are reports of unease, nervousness, and low-grade paranoia. These sensations will overcome anyone within visual range of the manifestation, even if obscured, such as by curtains. I mean, yeah, like, again, nobody likes the idea of, like, somebody's head popping through the window, unless it's, like, bright daylight and it's a family or a friend. But other than that, if it's, like, nighttime, and you're not expecting anybody, and there's just a person just standing there, you're like, Just gonna go to the kitchen and grab me knife. Based upon reports pertaining the residents of the house where SCP-965 was discovered encountering problems sleeping, experiments were conducted using D-class personnel who were made to sleep in the chamber where -1 was installed. An individual that is sleeping in any area visible to SCP-965 when it manifests will invariably have dreams of a disturbing nature, usually involving being chased, attacked, tormented, etc., though without physical contact within this dream. Oh boy. That reminds me of this horrible 911 call. And it was like an elderly woman who you can actually hear her getting attacked by somebody who broke into her house, and she's that's out the most visceral, most like just gut turning scream, and it made me feel absolutely terrified and shitty for like a solid 3 hours. I was just like, oh my god. Because it also gets really annoying when you listen to 911 and like the fucking questions. They're like, oh, we like where are you right now? Like, oh, ma'am, calm down. Tell me where you are right now. And it's like, how? Like, I don't understand. I understand, like, of course, where you are is important to know. That's one of the questions. Honestly, that should be the only question, right? Where are you right now? I'm here. Okay, we'll send somebody. That's all it's supposed to be, in my opinion. But then they ask like multiple questions, like, who is the man? I mean, once again, these are all questions that are like important to know, of course, because you want to know who the perpetrator is and all that. But I feel like some of the questions they ask is just like so out of left field. Have you tried talking to the man? It's like, what? Why would they? Oh my god. It's very saddening hearing those. So, when repeated incidents involving the same subject as few as 3 but never more than 10 dream cycles before onset, SB965 will begin manifesting with a more explicit smile than normal. After this point, the subject will begin complaining of heartburn or abdominal pain, and often begin to vomit blood have blood in any bodily waste. This is caused by the victim suffering ulcers and low-grade hemorrhaging throughout varied locations in the gastrointestinal tract. The current hypothesis as to the cause of these affliction is SB965's influence artificially accelerating the body's reaction to elevated stress and fear levels. Subjects who advance to this stage have also reported continuing experiences of the facial manifestation in windows during dreams, as well as in peripheral vision while awake, even after being removed from the vicinity of SB965. Oh god damn, imagine in dreams you see this motherfucker as well. He's just like, I'm also here. And most suffer from low-grade but lasting feeling of paranoia, as well as sensation that they are being watched or followed, whether this is in fact some remnant influence left behind or standard symptoms of distress followed by the traumatic intrusion of SB965 into the psyche is under investigation. SB965 has produced no noise to date, and there have been no reported instances of SB965 animating in any way once it appears. However, it is capable of disappearing and reappearing at will in different poses. SB965 also shows signs of sentience. It has been observed to show disappointment if it manifests to an empty room, irritation or anger when manifesting before someone has broken a prior -1, and one instance of visible fear when in presence of agents who had earlier participated in its retrieval. Oh, you're scared now, eh? You're scared. Good. You bring fear. Be ready to be scared yourself, bruh. Addendum Incident 1 on 19. Routine testing involving the destruction of -1 confirmed that while a multi-pan window may act as multiple holding zones, sufficient damage to the overall structure disqualifies it as a possible replacement. Unfortunately, SB965 instead manifested in an adjacent experimentation chamber observational window. Due to the high standards of Foundation equipment, this required the window's complete removal and destruction via tactical breaching charge. SB965 was viewed with significantly hostile expression for 1 month after the incident. Addendum Incident 2 on 2000. Dr. L requested transfer away from the project involving SB965. She was reported as beginning to have visions of SB965 and to experience feeling of paranoia, similar to those affected during sleep, despite not having slept in the presence of SB965 herself. Dr. was temporarily relieved of duties and assigned to psychological care. No other instances of SB965 affecting personnel who have not slept in its presence have been reported. Yeah, I can see that this is a very, very creepy one. I wouldn't like it either. I would not like it. Sleep killer. Well, we have somebody that definitely ruins dreams and makes you paranoid in sleep, and now we have something called a sleep killer, which I can only assume is somebody that's just it's an SCP that doesn't allow you to sleep. For some, like, with some weird ability, you know. Either through fear, which is most likely the case, or, like, there was also, like, the 11-minute alarm clock that every time 11 minutes pass, it will just ring. And will be extremely loud if you don't hit the snooze button. So it could be the sleep killer is like, it keeps you awake because you're afraid of it. It keeps you awake because it's very loud. Or it keeps you awake because it's like through pain. The main premise is you cannot sleep around it. Oh, it's definitely fear. It's definitely fear. I mean, fuck. Jesus. Imagine that. Imagine this thing being in your room. Oh my god. SCP-966-2 as seen through infrared filters. Oh boy. Oh, very highly rated this. Well, there's that hallway right there is pure darkness. This thing might actually pop up. It might actually just pop up and be like, well, I'm here now. No more sleep for you either. MTF IOTA 1 Dream Hunters and MTF IOTA 2 Air Chasers are to regularly be on the lookout for news about the sudden, violent human deaths related to sleep deprivation in order to find and neutralize remaining wild instances of SCP-966. Wild instances? There's more of them? Yeah, we need the uncle from Jackie Chan, the Jackie Chan show. Yo mokle da wadi tao, yo mokle da wadi tao, yo mokle da wadi tao. Just fucking lays that shit away. The 4 specimens of SCP-966-4. Why they gotta be 4? Of the 4 specimens of SCP-966, 3 males designated -1, -3, and -4. That's so. This one's a female one. Oh, God, it's not even. And 1 female designated -2, acquired by the Foundation, must be contained in a 10 by 10 meter room made of steel lined with lead. Located on site. 2 security cameras with infrared filters and infrared sensitive film are to be installed inside the room. Each specimen of SCP-966 is to be fed with 20 kilograms of meat every month. Okay, they're getting fed. They're getting fed, so maybe, just maybe, they don't do anything crazy. I mean, they probably do something crazy, but as long as you feed them. As long as you feed them, you're good. In the event of -2 giving birth. What? The newborn specimen is to be studied and disposed of before it reaches maturity. Yeah, you fucking better. Can you imagine we have like 6 more of these coming out? No. I'm good. I'm muy bueno. I'm muy bueno. Arigato. Gracias. Grazie. No, thank you. Danke vielmals. Ich bin gut. It's been 966 up. For serious, just for a moment I thought I heard like breathing. SCP-966 are predatory creatures that resemble hairless, tissue-degrade humans, possessing an elongated face with a mouth lined with needle-like teeth. Just like that picture. On each hand, they have 5 claws that can be up to 20 centimeters long. That's a long claws. You go get it, girl. Look at you with your fashionable claws. Although sharp, these are easily broken, making them unfit for combat. SCP-966 height ranges from 1.4 to 1.6. Oh, there's... Okay, I don't know why, but from looking at this picture, I thought they were like taller than me. But still, doesn't change the fact that they are creepy. And they can reach up to 30 kilograms in weight. Oh, they're half my weight as well. Actually, I'm more than that. I'm not 60. I'm 70. Physically, SCP-966 are weak, possessing hollow bones and low muscular density. They do not seem to rest through sleep. Instead, they will suddenly cease all movement at seeming random intervals of time, resuming normal activity 3 to 5 minutes later. Oh, that's creepy. Can you imagine you getting chased by one of these things and suddenly they just like. Mid running, they just stop, and you're just like, is happening? You're like, okay, maybe I'm good. Let me just back up. Okay, good. Maybe stop, maybe malfunction, something like that. And then you walk, and 3 minutes later you just hear like, and you look back, and you look back to you, and you just, this thing coming back chasing you, and you're like, fuck, shit, I thought it stopped. No. Okay, SCP-966 are visible only at wavelengths ranging from 700 nanometers to about 900 nanometers. Is applied to all of SCP-966 tissues. If their skin, muscles, or organs have suffered from 2nd to 30-degree burns, the affected areas will be visible at wavelengths ranging from 260 to 900 nanometers. So you can't even see them. You have like fucking special glasses on. No, SCP-966 feed on medium to large-sized animals, including humans. That is fantastic. They hunt either alone or in pairs. Their hunting methods consist of emitting a single burst of a previously unknown type of wave, dubbed waves, in honor of the late Dr. which permanently inhibits the ability of the affected creatures to enter any of the NREM and REM sleep stages. The ability to microsleep is also lost. The effective range of the waves is up to 20 meters. However, tests show that they can be blocked by post-transition metals, particularly lead. Well, that's good to know. Fantastic. Fun. After all attempts to make victims of SCP-966 sleep have failed, it is still possible to induce other forms of unconsciousness, although these will usually prove detrimental to the affected subjects as they do not provide true rest. After depriving the victims of sleep, SCP-966 will stalk the prey until the lack of rest incapacitates it. At this point, SCP-966 will proceed to consume it. Also, it just, it forces you to wake up. So if you ever like wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, why the fuck am I awake?
Yes, a high chance one of these things is in the room with you.
SCP-966 have proved to be very agile and silent while stalking the victims. On occasion, they will deliberately make threatening noises around the prey in order to further stress it, and may even physically assault it if the victim proves to be particularly durable. Other than common symptoms caused by sleep deprivation, some victims of SCP-966 have shown signs of suffering from extremely vivid hallucination, as well as sudden bouts of rage with no apparent external stimuli. It is currently thought that these are the effects of prolonged exposure to waves. Why SCP-966 continually exposes these waves to only some of the victims is unknown. One hypothesis is that SCP-966 will only do this when starving, since it further degenerates the physical and mental state of the prey, incapacitating it at a faster rate. While instances of SCP-966 are found all over the world, since the discovery in the Foundation has succeeded in greatly thinning the numbers, though they are still found in large quantities in many countries, particularly and
I'm scared. They scare me.
Infinite scrapyard. So it must be some kind of like reality bending spot where you walk in. From the outside it looks small, but then you walk in, suddenly you have this ginormous, endless kilometer upon kilometer of just scrap, and you walk in it, you get lost. You know what? You get lost just for the hell of it. And then sometimes you just climb this giant pile of scrap. You look upon, you just see like this giant, just land mass of scrap. Occasionally you see probably somebody else in the distance, just like, hey, you, over here. And you try to get to each other, but by the time you think you're closer to each other, you get lost again. And who knows? There was a Love, Death and Robot video where there was a scrap monster. Maybe that's in there as well. Who knows? Adding some a bit more consequences of joining into this infinite scrapyard. SB967 is to be contained within a 12-meter high electric fence, primarily contained surrounded by a 150 meter wide buffer zone of vegetation consisting of wildflowers, fruit trees, and mixed grasses, and monitored by no less than 60 on-site personnel disguised as members of the scrapyard cleaning people, environmental organization, civilians. Civilians are to be dissuaded from entry to the buffer zone by means of a toxic waste bioremediation research cover story. What am I reading here? So I'm laying in bed and Meow Chi just made this huge chirp noise and really pushed the body into mine. What's okay on. Wait, hold on. There's a bunch of messages that have been sent. 12 hours for 5 days. That is. There we go. In the event of the containment breach, instances of -1 can be distinguished from instances of -2 by the reaction to the buffer zone. During a containment breach, -1 will hesitate, manifest apparent confusion and fear, and then attempt to return within the confines of the electric fence. Any instances of -1 which fail in this attempt will undergo decohesion within 3 minutes of having left SB967. Metal detectors and industrial electromagnets are to be used to collect all decoherent fragments. Any decoherent fragments which are not used for research purposes are to be incinerated with their ashes bound to concrete matrix, which is then stored within the overall confines of SB967. Any damage to the buffer zone caused by the containment breach must be repaired within no more than 30 minutes. During a containment breach, -2 will not react to the buffer zone. Individual instances of -2 are to be immobilized with electromagnetic weaponry until they undergo decohesion. No instance of -2 has endured more than 2 hours before undergoing decohesion. Metal detectors and industrial electromagnets are to be used to collect all decoherent fragments. Any decoherent fragments which are not used for research purposes are to be incinerated, with the ashes bound in a concrete matrix, which is then stored within the overall confines of SB967. Any damage to the buffer zone caused by the containment breach must be repaired within no more than 30 minutes. SB967 is an abandoned scrapyard located in
Redacted.
Flyover have shown that SB967 is approximately 200 times 500 meters squared. The site was abandoned in following a rash of disappearances and anomalous activity. On SB967 was secured by the Foundation. SB967 is much larger than the outside dimension would suggest. Several regions within the area are only accessible by foot and extend into an enormous area of space. Exploration teams have described this area as consisting of trash as far as the eye can see. Told you. I was not wrong. This landscape is composed entirely of items consistent with scrapyard, old cars, abandoned locomotives, and mountains of disused watercraft and appliances. Extended insertions into SB967 have revealed the presence of detritus and derelict vehicles inconsistent with the current level of human technology. Exploration teams have also reported the presence of a wide variety of ambulatory creatures within SB967, collectively designated -1. These appear to be haphazardly constructed from the same material as the landscape. So like scrap monsters, or scrap beasts, or scrap beings, creatures, yeah, just made out of scrap. Individual instances of -1 may or may not be aggressive, and do not appear to be sapient. Instances of -1 taken beyond the borders of SB967 rapidly undergo mechanical decohesion, with the component parts collapsing into a disconnected heap. Extensive study of these decoherent components, both individually and collectively, has revealed no anomalous properties. However, the accumulation of sufficient bigger than 5 kilograms per meter squared quantities of discarded components for sufficient bigger than 24 hours time within an area immediately adjacent to the borders of SB967 resulted in the expansion of SB967 to include the area in question. Addendum. In addition to the numbers of In addition to the numerous forms of -1 which seem equivalent to unintelligent animals, SB967 has been found to contain sapient entities, collectively designated -2, with whom negotiation is possible. See Archive 967M58 for contact logs and an anthropological observation note. Addendum 2. -2 has been found to exist in multiple subpopulations or tribes which have widely differing behaviors and attitudes. Due to the extreme compositional heterogeneity of -1 and -2, no method has yet been devised for determining the tribe to which a previously unencountered individual belongs, or whether it is an instance of -1 other than interacting with it. The total number of tribes has not been determined. However, 4 have been definitely identified with tentative identification of a fifth. See document 967-HN4-27. Which is right down here. List of sapient subpopulation found within SB967. The Queen's own 17th coal-fired Newcastle upon Tyne, a population claiming to be a mechanobiological regiment of injured veterans from the Steam War of 1892. These entities also claim to be citizens of the United Kingdom. They are largely cooperative and helpful towards Foundation personnel, with the exception of certain outdated socio-political attitudes, but have made repeated requests for the Foundation to restore them so they can leave the confines of SB967. Give-take, a population of nomadic traders. Assembly required, a population of hostile expansionists whose goal is the conversion of all external territory into SB967. Members of Assembly required have been responsible for no less than attempts to breach containment. Remainder, a population of religious nihilists who refuse to acknowledge the existence of Foundation researchers or of the world outside SB967 in general. The Ballad Academy. Although exploration teams have assessed the Ballad Academy as non-sapient to the stereotypy of their behavior, members of the Queen-owned Give-Take and Assembly required have all repeatedly stated that the Ballad Academy is terrifyingly sapient. The Ballad Academy is unlike other SB967 subpopulation in the compositional homogeneity of its members. All members of the Ballad Academy are humanoid entities wearing Ballad US Army gear circa the Vietnam War, with fleshless moose, ulcis skulls for heads, and loudspeakers on their chests. All encounter with the Ballad Academy has been identical. A group of 20 entities will face the exploration team, and the loudspeaker on the chest will activate saying, "And now the Ballad Academy will perform Igor Stravinsky's The Rat of Spring," which original choreography by Vaslav Nijinsky. The entities will then dance for 28 minutes, during which no music is audible. Dancing with no music, ugh. Well, there go. That's the Infinity Scrapyard. Tar baby. Well, I just assume that's what it is. It's just this blob. Acts like a baby made out of tar. Keto. Oh god, it's keto. Okay, well, my idea was a bit more like, considered like safe. Didn't think it would be fucking keto. Shit. SB968 is kept in the center of a large porcelain bowl with a steep curve. The bowl itself is made for transport, feeding, and removal of waste from SB968. It is lined with steel and braces designed to tip the bowl when needed. The bowl measures 7 meters across and 4 meters deep. Wow, that's a big bowl. While dormant, SB968 should be kept in an enclosed environment and atmosphere at 3% humidity or less, between 30 and 35 degrees Celsius. To achieve a maximum state of submission, SB968 is to be fed between 50 and 80 kilograms of protein every 4 days. Cleanup of waste is achieved by tilting the bowl using the mechanical platform. SB96A will typically hold to one side of the bowl while waste slides down to the lowest point. A drip torch is used to ignite particulate waste, and ash is removed by using blowers. Okay. Commonly known as the tar baby, SB968 appears as a black, adhesive, high viscosity oil. Current research explains SB968 as a colony of vibrous protozoa working together without any true structure, central nervous system, or endocrine system, despite observations of cellular coordination. By the way, now I think of tar, I just thought of Lucky Luke and how like the Daltons just constantly got like tarred and feathered. In real life, that shit must have hurt like a bitch. I imagine you got like fucking 4th-degree burns from that shit, and you I imagine that it's not any like, you know, like lukewarm tar. It's like tar is normally, you know, fucking hot. So someone getting tarred and feathered, that not only was it humiliating, but it must have hurt like a bitch. I cannot imagine it not being. Actually, let's look it up. Did getting tarred and feathered, although rarely fatal, victims of tarring and feathering attacks were not only humiliated by being held down, shaved, stripped naked, and covered in a boiled, sticky substance and feathers, but the skin often became burned and blistered or peeled off when the solvents were used to remove the remnants. Current research explains SB968 as a colony of vibrous protozoa working together without a true instruction. Yeah, sorry, I already read that part. Similar to the flexing properties of animal muscle, these fibrous protozoa, how do you say this? Protozoa are capable of pulling on one another with a combined strength. Specialized flagella along with the surfaces allowed for the gripping of prey and surfaces, but without tendons, ligaments, or skeletal materials to support it. SB968 is incapable of any significant locomotion. The colony hunts by mimicking the appearances of prey or a wounded animal to lure other predators to attack it. In the presence of humans, it has learned that mimicking the shape of an incapacitated infant or small child is the optimal lure for human beings. Except, you know, if I saw a baby covered in tar, I'd be like, that baby needs to be dead. It's supposed to be dead. It's supposed to be dead. How is it breathing? How is it alive? A small baby covered in tar, that shit's not gonna survive, dude. I'd be panicking. I'd be like, how the fuck did this happen? But then also part of me is like, it's been crying for like solid 5 minutes. I don't trust this baby. I play enough horror games where when I hear a baby crying, I'm in the middle of the dark. Bad sign. Once ensnared by prey, often exacerbate the situation by striking against SB968, which serves only to compound the adhesion. The effect is much like quicksand. The exhausted prey is pulled either to a den or underwater to be drowned. SB968 pulls against its prey in opposite direction on both macroscopic and microscopic levels to mechanically dismember its prey until it's torn into small enough fragments to digest on a cellular level. This baby got fucking hands. And it's using those hands to shred me. Fuck. Though SB968 has shown a heightened level of intelligence, SB968 appears to have a single-minded devotion to feeding and exhibits no other desires. Attempts to freeze SB968 for analysis have proven extremely hazardous. It conducts heat through friction and metabolism, keeping parts of itself from freezing. The frozen parts of SB968 provide a structure for its fibrous tendrils to act against, much like muscle on bone. It is advised not to continue freezing attempts, as SB968 may learn to use the bone structure of its prey to escape or attack Foundation personnel. Acquisition, that's different. Usually it says addendum. Oh, so how it's caught. Huh. That usually it just says addendum and then it explains how it got caught, but that's cool. I like that it says acquisition. SCP researchers and Task Force Epsilon 9, aka Fire Eaters, were dispatched to North Central Africa after an Associated Press reporter put several seconds on film onto the internet. In the video, an indigenous man was seen being pulled in a dark pool of water. The reporter was on location to investigate reports of locals being consumed by shadows. After considering known African folklore, it was believed that the fire was the tool of choice to be used in suppression and containment. Though well equipped and informed, Epsilon Force had great trouble containing the entity that was to be later labeled SB968. Before the arrival of Epsilon team, it became apparent that SB968 had established snares of itself across nearly 2 square kilometers of savanna. By attaching itself to animals and allowing its prey to flee for nearly 1 kilometer in every direction, SB968 was capable of weaving a web of fine tendrils up trees, down holes, and across small bodies of water. While used in the future acquisition of prey, it proved to be a battlefield-level ambush for Epsilon. Fire has only a minimal effect on SB968. While it doesn't actually destroy it, enough heat causes it to recoil and release whatever it held fast to. Members of Epsilon 9 were at first reluctant at using the flame accelerators on team members who had been ensnared by SB968. Of course you were reluctant. You didn't want to burn your friend. Tar baby. Huh. Tar baby is vicious. Brand mosquito repellent. Well, so it's a brand that doesn't exist. But the question is, does it actually do its job well? Man, I always said to myself, yeah, if I could, I would just gather the entire population of mosquitoes into one giant mass and just hurl it at the sun. just gone. No more mosquitoes. All the mosquito larvae and eggs out there combined as well in this mass. Just this giant spirit bomb level-esque mass of mosquitoes at the sun. Just gone. Like, mosquitoes is like one thing where I would argue like you can kill that shit non-stop. Like, and people would, I always say like, hey, if I would kill one species on this planet, it would be mosquitoes. And if people want I had one person argue with me like, it's like, well, don't you just take away food from like frogs and bats and all that? I'm like, they can eat other shit. There are other insects that are much bigger. I'm pretty sure mosquitoes are not going. I mean, okay, maybe the bats will hate me for it, but I'm pretty sure they can also find other stuff to eat. I'm just saying, dude. Mosquitoes fucking can die. I hate them. I hate them because I'm like very like, they love me. Euclid. All instances of SB969, nice. 69, yeah, nice. Are to be kept in containment locker 19-969, nice. All personnel are to be issued information annually on the appearance of SB969 nice instances. Personnel encountering an instance of SB96 nice are to retrieve it through preferably legal means. SB96 nice is a brand of packet insect repellent apparently distributed by corporation. There are no legal or online records of any corporation. SB96 nice is typically found on the shelves of various convenience stores mainly in the United States and Canada. Footnote saying, instances of SB96 nice has also been discovered in the United Kingdom, South Africa and Australia. However, the frequency of appearance is relatively minor. Instances of SB96 nice will appear on store shelving and records with preset pricing. Store workers show no memory of adding SB96 nice to the inventory. SB96 nice packaging claims that approximately 19% of SB96 nice is composed of an unknown chemical labeled. The labeling seems to imply that is the active ingredients of SB96 nice. Researchers have isolated all other chemicals in SB96 nice, but have been unable to identify, lending credence to its role as the active ingredient of SB96 nice's effects. Given the anomalous properties of SB96 nice, it is suspected that may not be an isomer of its corresponding chemicals in SB969 as the packaging claims. Instructions for the application of SB969 are on the other side of SB969's packaging. And here it just says insect repellent, repels mosquitoes and ticks. Yeah. Direction for use. It's a violation of federal law to use this product in a manner inconsistent with its labeling. While there are laws surrounding the use of insect repellent, there are no laws regarding cooperation or read all directions before using the products. To repel insects, rub on exposed skin areas. Use just enough repellent to cover exposed skin. Do not use on the clothing. Do not apply to face or ears. Repeat as needed. Frequent application and saturation is unnecessary for effectiveness. Avoid overexposure. Wipe hands after use. After returning indoors, wash treated skin with soap and water. Avoid contact with plastics, acetate, spandex, and rayon. Use of SB969 in the recommended manner results in no anomalous effects, although researchers note a greater efficacy of use of SB969 over the other brands. Use of SB969 in a manner not recommended by the packaging results in several anomalous effects. SB969 applied to unexposed skin on the clothing. Clothing appeared to be repelled from skin of subject, expanding outwards. So immediate effect, chronic or lasting effect, none, and says effect wears off after approximately 5 hours. Applied to face. Irritation in line with regular effects of insect repellent. Face of subject is found mainly unattractive because of physical change. Let me just put that on my face real quick, and everybody just sees you as an ugly piece of shit. SB969 applied to ears. Loud buzzing noise heard by subject. Oh, I hate that. One thing I hate is sleeping. Whenever I go to Ibiza and a mosquito manages to somehow wriggle its nasty ass into my room, I hate hearing the sound of I hate that. Especially when you try to sleep. Dude, fuck off. Hearing degradation and eventual deafness. Frequent application resulting in overexposure, extreme alienation by subject of all observers, depression. Hands not wiped after use, expressed struggle of holding onto several objects, inability to grasp or handle any object with hands. Oh shit, forever. Applied indoors, not washed off indoors. Observers show tendency to avoid contact with shelter or subject. Contamination of shelter. SB969 applied to any plastic overcoat. Overcoat began contracting. Subject was unable to escape overcoat. Death of subject. Overcoat remained contracted. Addendum 1. Level 4 clearance required. Unauthorized viewing of the following documentation will result in reprimand. SB969 given to child. Oh god. Subject immediately began to experience growth until subject became a young adult. Body maturity but mental immaturity. Okay, so just physically it's like a young adult, but it's still a child inside. Incident 1. Following repeated use of SB969, several federal vehicles were seen approaching site. Security forces were deployed and all federal agents Oh, I see. Yeah. Gotcha. Were successfully captured. When interviewed, the agents claimed that they had received orders to arrest several substance abusers at site location. So far, the source of the orders has not been identified. The agents were administered Class A amnestics and returned to headquarters. And that was the last one. There we go. All right. Here's the list. So inspiration, I would say, was definitely. I think it's just the idea of how wild it can get, because the inspiration is always random with every person, right? Every person can react to this differently, but then at the end you do something beyond understanding. I think just the idea of somebody climbing up to a roof, shooting people, and then using a rope to a fan and trying to think that it's going to bungee jump like an action film, and then but doesn't. Just shows how crazy wild this one can be. And of course, there's just the idea, the inclusion of Greek and Roman mythology just hits me right here. Sleep killer. I mean, those shit are just creepy. They're creepy. They're creepy. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to look at them. I hope they don't exist in real life. I hope that I will never meet one in real life. Yeah. Tar baby vicious. That ain't no baby. That's a full-on beast. It should be in Tar Beast. God damn. El Supremo. The face in the window. I mean, that's just discomforting, isn't it? It's just uncomfortable. The idea of like you just want to sleep, but there's this face just always there, and then after a while, the longer you're exposed to it, it will also visit your dreams, and then once you leave the room, you think it's still following you. Just not fun. Tower of Babel. I just love the rant. The rant is like, where it sees us as like the superior beings, and it's just like trying to please us, but like we have absolutely no idea what the fuck it's doing. Brown mosquito repellent. Yeah, I like the effects if you don't follow its instructions. I think it's funny that there's like some of the instructions are funny. Some of them are of course dark. University sundial. I think the idea is pretty dope. That like it's just like suddenly this shadowy surface appears and it just goes like counterclockwise, and next thing you know, you fall unconscious, and this figure in history just like, hey, guess what? I'm fucking up history. But you just don't remember what he was saying, so he can say whatever he wants to you, and you wake up and be like, huh, that was weird. What did he say? I don't know. Infinite scrapyard, yeah. I like the idea of the tribes. I see -1 more as like maybe like the pets or animals, or maybe just kids. Maybe they're just the kids who haven't fully grown yet. And a tribe of -2. Yeah, I like the idea of like the different tribes, and they're all made of like. I just imagine like some of them are made out of tires, some of them are made out of like what's it called? The cars, like lights. Some of them are made out of like the ship's rotors and so on. So there's just different forms of tribes, and I like the idea. Like it seems like a cool, like almost sci-fi, but like I'm not complete, like very degraded steampunk. You know, rusted steampunk. That's what it is. It's rusted steampunk. Indescribable polymorph, yeah. I mean, the poor dude can't even transform because it's getting overloaded with descriptions. And immortality. Dr. Bright getting the short end once again, but he's immortal, so he just possesses somebody for a little while and then jumps into the necklace back again and possesses somebody else again. And the Foundation only does that because they like Dr. Bright. They want him to stay. All right, yeah, that was it. So before I end it, let me just really quickly go on Twitter, and I will make that poll now. Here, ask question: what shall be the name of my subscribers? Okay, so we have I'm going to add the Afro Yos because that actually is pretty good. I'm going to add the Afroks. I'm going to add Profros. What else did I? Was there anything else I said I? Yeah, no, I don't. Even though Afrobeat, I mean, that beats just sounds better because it's like an internal rhyme. So Afrobeats doesn't really make that much sense. What is a good synonym for beat? there's no, okay, probably not gonna use that. So Profros, Afros, Afroyos, Afrosties, of course. And the poll will last for like, let's do like a 3-day poll out of this. So there we go. And yeah, tweet it. Good. Okay. So it's out there. It's on my Twitter. For all on Twitch, my Twitter's down below. If you want to click on it and then vote for one of the names. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Wednesday we will continue with Dead Island Riptide with Lexi, which, as mentioned before, we're getting really close to the end of that one. And then Thursday will be Hades, and I believe Friday I will add some pixel arting again. It's been a while. But yeah, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening, and the Afro is with you.